Always feel sorry for Larry. He has burned up a calculator and 4 pencils over
I'm always prepared,
figuring out the gas mileage, and I always tell Larry it ain't going to happen that way.
Yeah, but fellows like Greg Zipadelli will be very happy to see this caution because they were one of the teams that could not go the distance on fuel. Now, Mayfield brings out the caution. His teammate Scott Riggs will be the recipient of the free pass.
Now, here's my fear, and you know this like I do. We got a caution. We get double line restarts. And this is when sometimes mayhem breaks out. Got people trying to get back on the lead lap, get the lucky dog. Got people trying to get up there to win the race. It gets a little bit touchy here at the end of the race.
It's one of your favorite sayings.
Cautions breed cautions.
We've got 21 cars on the lead lap right now, and we actually have 5 cars that are 1 lap down that'll be fighting to be that first car lap down.
Look at the headroom these guys got in this new car, Larry. Amazing.
How many tires do you get here?
There's no question. You got to get 4.
I'd get 6 if I could.
4 and put 1 in the trunk.
Get me an extra one.
All right, the leader comes to pit road in front of Krista.
For Carl Edwards, they're going to use exactly what got him this far, the exact same air pressure adjustment they've been making all day. Carl said he's just a little bit loose. Overall, very good. And, of course, those 4 tires. Dick?
Matt Kenseth just came on the radio and said to his crew chief, Chip Bolin, I know I've been asking for this all week, but can you make me a little tighter on entry? He stops the car absolutely perfectly on his marks, Matt.
Jeff Gordon says they're about 1 adjustment away, another tear-off, chassis adjustments across the back. Gordon says I still need tremendous help on drive-off, and we're going to get the 99. Steve?
Matt, Jimmy Johnson says his number 48 has gotten loose coming off the corners. They've made an adjustment in the left rear. He's off pit road.
And Carl Edwards came in first, is not going to go out first. Jamie McMurray took 2, and he'll beat him out along with Gordon and Johnson.
Yeah, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, and Brian Vickers looking at pit road. Those teams elected to go with 2 tires here with about 25, 26 laps to go.
The 99's at the first pit box. The 24's in the first pit box going out. You see who won the race.
The Auto Club 500 on Fox, powered by Q Motor Oil, is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
So here's how they'll restart next time by with 26 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon up front, then Jamie McMurray, who got 2 tires, then Carl Edwards, then Mark Martin and Brian Vickers, who each got 2 tires, then Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex.
Watching Casey Kane here, and I just flashed back to Daytona last week, and remember how he was working the wheel all the time? I mean, he was juking on the wheel. He just was very uncomfortable in the car. Look at him here. I know we're not going fast, but that's how he's been driving all day long. This car really is working well for him.
We've talked about crew chiefs being analysts, and we've talked about them being cheerleaders. Here's an example of the latter. Jimmy Johnson's crew on this stop rebounded from a tough pit stop.
Be ready. Take it, go. Yeah.
I believe Chad was a little bit excited. But you're right. That's the same group that had an 18-second stop back on lap 169.
Well, you know why. Of course, they need that. But also, when you make changes, you're praying they work out. And they worked out there.
Steve?
Mike, you heard the emotion from Chad just before the stop. Jimmy Johnson implored his crew. He said, guys, we need a big stop right here, and they got it.
We talk about double file restarts of cars that are 1 or more laps down on the inside. Carl Edwards, because of coming out 4th, if you see him right there, he's going to start like 8 on this restart that's going to come with 26 laps to go.
Well, I hold my breath right here for a few laps. Get these things strung out a little bit.
2 Hendrick Chevys, 2 Roush Fords, a DEI Chevy, a Red Bull Toyota, a Roush Ford, a Gibbs Toyota. Here we go. 26 laps to go. Green flag.
Remember that 26 car, they have 2 tires. Jamie McMurray, the car that's in 3rd right there.
I think that'll get him ahead of some of the people he was racing with, because he and Mark Martin both were way back in the field, about 18th and 19th.
For the lead.
This will help them.
Jeff Gordon.
Side by side down the back straightaway, and you see back there 3 wide. Carl Edwards on the outside of McMurray, but this is the battle for the lead off into turn 3.
For this to be Jeff Gordon's drive for 5 and win a 5th championship, The toughest car he's going to have to beat is the one he's racing right now, his protege and teammate Jimmy Johnson.
And Carl Edwards will love this because he just cleared the lap down cars. He's going to say, guys, you just keep going side by side. I will reel you in.
The thing I love about these two guys is the amount of respect they have for each other. They're on the same teams. We saw them race each other hard last year. And Jeff was such a gracious loser to Jimmy Johnson for the chase. But I don't think there's a race car out there, Larry, that when it comes crunch time at that 48 doesn't always seem to be able to step up a notch.
Johnson the leader, Edwards the fastest car on the racetrack, but does he have enough time to catch Jimmy Johnson?
I'd say nip tuck. He's got a nip and then he's got a tuck.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson just beat Carl Edwards by almost 0.3 of a second that lap. And Jimmy Johnson, he is letting her hang out using every bit of this racetrack.
Well, I believe this is probably Carl's worst case scenario. His car's good on the long run, and we don't have a real long run to work with here.
23 laps to go, but when you look at those front two cars, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, the 24 Jeff Gordon, you talked about them battling for the championship. Between those two cars, 16 of the 36 wins in 2007 by those two.
Kyle Busch jumped to 8th last lap. He jumped to 6th this lap, and look at the melee back there.
All those cars are lead lap cars with the exception of Bill Elliott in the 21 and Michael Waltrip in the 55.
Here comes Busch. Sadler, the 19, a lap down.
This has that Atlanta look. Remember that Atlanta race when Carl chased down Jimmy and got him on the last lap? Setting up a lot like that.
And then later in the season, Jimmy returned the favor.
Carl just can't let these guys get too far away.
The top three cars just run within 2/100ths of a second of each other on that lap with 22 to go.
And that won't get it for
no,
Carl Edwards. He is behind by 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, he's got two obstacles right now, the stopwatch and a 24 car between him and that 48.
Still got time though, Larry. These tires fall off pretty quickly, and that's when Carl's car seemed to have been at the best. You see all three of them coming off the corner here, pretty well equally spaced at this point. I think you'll see Carl start to close up on the back of Jeff here pretty quick.
Now Matt Kenseth is 4th, Kyle Busch 5th, Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, Martin Truex 4 wide.
Carl's a little bit.
I don't know why I get excited about that. It happens all the time, but
yeah.
That pack, as David Reagan makes a move in that 6 car and slices to the bottom.
You can see that Carl is starting to catch Jeff Gordon here by a little wee bit. But Jimmy Johnson is pulling away from both these 24 into 99.
Yeah, Carl was quite a bit quicker. He seems to really be able to get down into 3 and 4 in the middle. Boom, right there. And really is able to pick the throttle and take that momentum on the high side.
Kyle Busch against last year's winner, Matt Kenseth, for 4th place. Got him.
Yeah, Kyle's car looks pretty good now. The last adjustment they made here makes it look like it's sticking a little better than it has all day.
But what this race has come down to is what the entire 2007 season came down to for Jimmy Johnson. Who can make their car the best at the end of the race? That 48 team.
Yeah. They did it 10 times last year.
And this year, it's not about this car versus the old car. This is about being better than the competition, and that's what we've got today.
And you know the unique thing Chad Knaus told me earlier in the week, he said, Larry, because we were so focused on the championship last year at the end of the season, we didn't race this car at this type of racetrack. We're behind with this race car. Good Lord, if they ever get caught up.
Well, that's the thing about them. They can catch up in a hurry.
Carl Edwards is closing on Jeff Gordon.
It's a battle for 9th right there between Mark Martin in the 8, Tony Stewart in the 20, as well as Brian Vickers in the 83. Mark Martin and Brian Vickers, they only went with 2 tires on that last stop. Tony Stewart with 4.
I think it might move them up a little bit, Larry, because I think Mark was running 19th when they made the 2-tire change. So it might pick him up a little bit.
There will be 18 laps to go when they get to the start-finish line. So Carl Edwards cannot afford to wait around passing Jeff Gordon.
You know, well, look at Jeff Gordon. Jeff really just pulled down out of his way. I'm surprised. Didn't try to hold him up much.
But that lap right there, even with Carl battling Jeff Gordon, he still beat Jimmy Johnson by well over a 1/10 of a second. We'll have 17 to go when they get back to the line.
He's got him in sight. Now, once you see that car in front of you and you're Carl Edwards, that makes all the difference in the world. I got him now, boys. If I can just get my hook set, I'm going to reel him in.
Jimmy Johnson still running the low line like Jeff Gordon. Carl Edwards moving that thing upstairs about a lane off the top of the racetrack.
He's going to close up big time this lap.
Good job, bud. Keep doing what you're doing. Nice and smooth now.
Yep. Cut it.
32 to his 48.
Got him.
Just a matter of time. 17 laps to go. And that time by, Carl Edwards was a 1/10 and a half faster.
Forget about your beer, just you and him.
Jimmy Johnson trying to win his 5th Sprint Cup race out of the last 7.
Now Johnson just moved up to the Carl Edwards lane. Let's see if it helps him any. Carl's had a lot of steam up high.
That's a battle for 11th right there. Casey Kane in the 9, Ryan Newman in the 12. Those two cars, they put 4 tires on versus Mark Martin and Vickers.
Yeah, and you can see Mark, he has got his hands full.
I tell you what, Carl Edwards, he's reeling him in right now. If he keeps going like he's going, he's probably going to catch him in about 3 to 4 laps. He beat him over 2/10 of a second that lap.
Steve?
Like Jimmy Johnson just said, I'm burning the right rear off this thing.
Oh, I thought that smoke was coming off the steering wheel, Steve.
We're looking back at Carl Edwards right there from Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Carl's just, I mean, he's been too good all day long not to be able to chase these guys down, and particularly if it stays green and they get this long run here in.
As Carl closes in, let's show you today's Sprint Mobile Monster moment. The race changed in an instant. With NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, follow the race instantly.
Go. Yeah.
That pit stop gave Jimmy Johnson the lead. The question now, can he hold it?
Now he's going to go downstairs, down to the white line. They're going to be side by side off turn 4. 14 to go this time at the line.
Well, I told you, Jimmy moved up into Carl's lane. Carl said, I'll just take your lane. Thank you very much. That car is that good right now. He can go where he wants to.
I have no idea who led that lap right there. Looks like Jimmy Johnson did by 3/1000ths of a second.
And there he goes. He'll put the slide job on him off of 2 over there, right up in
Still
front
out there
of him.
barely.
Got him.
You're clear.
Jimmy's going to fight back to the inside, but I think it's all in
Trying to come
vain.
back inside.
Oh, we've seen this movie before several times in Atlanta.
Watch Carl go around the outside here, though. Right in there, he just really gets a heck of a run off the corner.
Side by side for the lead. With 13 laps to go, Chevy versus Ford.